Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new format. Finally, post Photon Hypernova, post February 2023 ban list, and it's time to revisit Sky Striker. Sky Striker received a huge boost from the ban list, pretty much because now not every deck has to main deck Bystials. And Bystials are a real pain in the ass for Striker. So now that it's out of people's main decks, for the most part, we have a chance at taking game one. If we could take game one, we could definitely take a game post side. Even if Bystials come in post side, it's gonna be okay. We'll figure it out. So let's go ahead and check out a new Striker deck profile. We are using new cards from Photon Hypernova, which are a huge boost to the Striker strategy. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be, you know, at least somewhat relevant in the meta as Striker almost always is, unless, you know, people are main decking 9 Bystials. Let's go ahead and check it out. If you guys are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button for me. It really helps out the channel, helps me afford some cards so I can keep making deck profiles. I do appreciate that. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, and let's go ahead and jump on into Sky Striker post Photon Hypernova post February 2023 ban list. Okay guys, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm planning for Kashtira, Spright, Labrynth, and Branded as kind of the top echelon of decks, so kind of trying to make my deck choices, you know, towards those decks. And we're going to start off as we always do with 3 copies of Ray and 2 copies of Rose. I don't think anything has really changed. And then for our hand traps, we'll just do the hand traps now. We're playing 3 copies of Nib, excellent into Kashtira, solid into Branded. It's not always easy to play around Nib and Branded, and it's, you know, decent into Spright sometimes. Sometimes they go for like a Sprint into Nimble Beavers combo to start their turn, and you can nib on that, so that's good. And then we have 3 copies of Ash. Ash is really good into Branded, of course. Very good into Labrynth. It hits their welcome Labrynth trap cards, so that's good. It's good. It's solid into Spright. This Ash the starter is pretty nice, or Ash Gigantic is pretty good too. Into Kashtira, it's okay. You would Ash the Kashtira Theosis, but they can usually play around that. And then the last hand traps are 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Plays around triple tactics, spell cards, which I think are pretty prominent nowadays, and it's good into pretty much any matchup. Especially, this is a going second build. This is a blind second build, so it's a decent hand. It's a good hand trap to draw as your 6 cards. So it's another reason I like to play Imperm, it's probably the best hand trap in the game. Yeah, but that rounds out the monsters and hand traps lineup. Starting with the Striker spells, we have 1 Engage, 1 Multi-Roll, 1 Drones, and 1 AZ. So I think Multi-Roll and AZ have been like cut in the past, but I think they can come back in because the format is slowed down enough where it's okay to draw these cards going second, and you can still fairly decently break the board, even though you have these cards which are not that great at breaking boards. So yeah, I think they're back into the main deck. And then 2 copies of Afterburner. Afterburner is really solid into Kashtira. You just take out the Arise Heart right away. Make sure all your spells are going to the graveyard. That's really nice. And it baits out negates and effect activations, which is really good for the triple tactics cards. And then we're playing 3 copies of Widow, as usual. Very strong card. Not much to say about it. And I'm on 2 Shark Cannon again. 2 Shark for the Branded matchup. It's pretty dead into Kashtira, unfortunately, so definitely side them out against Cash, but the other matchups, it's, you know, plays a decent role. And then the last Striker spells are 3 copies of Linkage, just as kind of starters and, you know, being able to push for game faster. That's it for the Striker specific spells. Onto the generic stuff now. So playing 1 copy of Upstart Goblin. We're playing a lot of 1-ofs, but it's because they're limited to 1. So 1 Upstart, 1 Change of Heart, 1 Mind Control, 1 Rhoda, 1 Called by the Grave. Yeah, all these cards are at 1, and I'm playing 1 of each. I think they're all very solid, just to increase your spell card count. Because we're not playing any like big main deck monsters, we need to rely on stealing our opponent's stuff to really push for a game. So Change of Heart is very strong. Mind Control is very strong in that regard. So that's it for the 1-ofs. Now let's move on to our final few cards in the deck. We're playing 3 copies of the new card Triple Tactics Thrust and 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. So you guys know that spell cards that search other spell cards are very good in the striker strategy. So there's no reason not to play Triple Tactics Thrust. You have so many targets for this. You know, not only engage, but you can just search an Afterburners directly. You can search Change of Heart, Rhoda for Array, Talents for a draw 2 if the effect is activated in the main phase. Just no reason not to go for Talents. It just mega fuels your graveyard with spell cards so that you can resolve all your striker spells to the maximum extent. So yeah, and there's so many ways to bait opponents' card effects, monster effects. You know, Afterburners hitting something, Widow Anchor hitting something, Change of Heart target something. You know, if you go for a Hayate and they have a negate, you can actually do something about it now. That was like one of the worst things about Talents, is if you wanted to go for Hayate dump and they had some kind of negate for that, you couldn't take advantage of it with Talents because it was in the battle phase. Well, now Thrust you can activate because it's at any time in the turn. You're good to go. So yeah, Thrust is definitely a new staple for Striker in my opinion, and then there's no reason not to play 3 of each. I see, you know, a lot of decks are playing kind of 3 Thrust or 1 Talents, or 3 Thrust 2 Talents, or some kind of ratio, and that's usually because Talents is the only good spell card for Thrust to search anyway, and Talent is once per turn, so yeah, you don't want to overdraw them. But for us, we can use them both because Thrust searches so many other engine cards, and then we can still use Talents on top of that. And then the last card, the 40th card in the main deck, is 1 copy of Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched is searchable by Thrust, so I'm not main decking 3 Evenlies just because I don't want to be caught dead in the water if I'm made to go first, and I want as much live cards as I can. I'm already playing Change of Heart and Mind Control that are like purely going second cards, so I wanted to limit all of the purely going second cards as much as I could in the main deck, and then I would be side decking the other 2 Evenly for sure, because Evenly is really good into Kashtira, it's good into Labrynth, of course, solid into Branded, and yeah, Spright depends what kind of boards they're setting up. So that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards. I've been really happy with the build, how it's been testing online. In fairness, a lot of people just scoop when they see me summon Ray because nobody likes playing against Sky Striker, but you know, that's good for us. So for the extra deck, so we're kind of being conscious of Kashtira here, but yeah, it's only changing a couple things. So playing 3 copies of Kagari, and then I'm back onto 3 copies of Shizuku. So there's two things that affect our extra deck, actually. There's Linkage and there's Kashtira. So Linkage locks you into Striker monsters, and therefore I always want to have something to go into. I was on 2 Shizuku for a while, but I think just with how much you have to summon Striker monsters, and I don't want like one of my 2 Shizukus getting ripped by Kashtira, I think Shizuku is back up to 3 for sure. Still on 2 Hayate. I think 2 is fine. You're only really going to resolve 1 reliably per game anyways. 1 Kaina just because. And then 2 copies of Zeke. So yeah, this is mostly for the linkage part. If you linkage, you're locked into Striker monsters, but a lot of times you're going to steal your opponent's stuff with like Widow Anchor or Mind Control or, you know, Change of Heart, and you need to get rid of that monster somehow. So you need to reliably have Zeke to link to into. So I think 2 Zeke is a for sure staple, and there's really not other cards that I really want to be playing, so I could even see 3 Zeke with how much monster stealing we're playing. Let me just show you, for example, monster steals. If we kind of count Engage as 1 because it searches Widow, we're playing Engage, 3 Widow, 2 Shark Cannon, 1 Mind Control, 1 Change of Heart, 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talents, and then 3 copies of Thrust, which can search Talents. So we have like 12 cards in the main deck that can steal your opponent's stuff, which is kind of like unheard of. But that's what we're rolling with now, and therefore you need to make sure you have something to do with those monsters, because you don't want to steal with Talents and not have game, and then they get the monster back. That would be a total waste. So definitely need to have Zeeks in your extra. And then there's 4 cards left in the extra deck. 1 copy of Dark. I think it's just generically good. 1 copy of Asa, also good. So what I had in mind for Asa is when you steal an opponent's Fenrir, and then you can link into Asa and then Asa back the Fenrir. So now you have a Fenrir on your side and you can use it. Fenrir is just very good and very prominent in the meta, so I think having an Asa is going to be pretty solid. Dark, similarly, you can steal like Lady Labrynth in the graveyard probably, and then you can steal like Mirror Jade. Actually, no, Mirror Jade wouldn't do you much good, but you can probably steal something good with Dark, you know. And then just 1 copy of Access Code Talker as the final link monster, and then 1 copy of Zeus. So yeah, like I said, we have like 12 monster steals. Chances are you're going to be stealing some kind of Xyz monster, and only Mind Control stops you from attacking, and then the Shark Cannon stop you from attacking, but everything else you can attack with an Xyz monster and then overlay into Zeus in main phase 2. So it's just another thing you can do with a stolen material. But yeah, that's the 15 card extra deck, and that rounds out the whole strategy. So let me know what you guys think of this build. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. Leave a like, hit the notification bell, and we will see you guys in the next one for some more content. Let me know what deck profiles you want to see coming up on the channel soon.